JanBask training. Learn and grow.
So what is actually Amazon CloudFront, right? So Amazon CloudFront is a cloud content delivery network. It can also be called a cloud distribution network. It can also be called cloud delivery network, but the right answer is content delivery. Why we call it content delivery network? So what is content? Content can be anything that your user wants, right? It can be a PDF, it can be a video file, it can be a audio file, something like that, right? And they would be wanting it to use, like suppose if you are a Netflix class customer, you need their documentaries, their movies, their shows, you should be able to download those, right? So that's the content for Netflix. Maybe you are a company who has an online bookstore, so then the PDF of that book is content for your users and you want that to be distributed. Now, when I am putting my content in S3, right? So when I am putting my content in S3, right? So it will be distributed. I have an option to just put it in any one of the regions, right? I will put in either US East region, whatever the region I am putting in, I'll be putting in one of these regions. So, right, because I am not doing replication by default, so I'll be putting either in US East, US East 2, US West 2, one of these regions, right? But what if I want more granular control of where my data is? I want it to be even more distributed than regions. So right now there are 24 regions to leverage AWS huge network of point of presence. So let's look at AWS CDN POP. Okay, so this will tell me where all their POPs are, right? So if you look at this blue dot is POP, the purple one is the multiple edge locations, and this yellow one is the regional cache. Okay, so see how many low like regions are quite low in number if you see that, but number of POPs are way more than the number of regions we have, because POP is easy to set up. So POP for AWS or POP for you is like a smaller version of a region, right? So currently AWS has 216 POPs as opposed to 24 regions. Okay, so if you look at AWS regions, right? So if you look at AWS regions, the regions are only these, right? These are only these. These are your regions. Okay, so these are 24, but if you want more points of presence, you can have 216 of them, right? So when you have 216 of them, even if the region is maybe more than 500 miles away from you, the POP location will be less than 50 miles from you. So that means your data will be traveling less amount. When your data is traveling less amount, you will be having better latency, better speed. Your user will be able to access your data faster, right? So that gives your user a better user experience, right? So that is the reason why we go for CDN, or for that matter, AWS CloudFront. Okay, so there are a lot of CDNs in market actually. So you have your Akamai, you have your Fastly, you have your Google CDN, you have your GitHub CDN, but in AWS world, the CDN is called CloudFront. Okay, so what it provides? It provides low latency and high data transfer speeds. Why? Because your content is now much closer to the user, as opposed of it to be coming from a region, it is now coming from a local location. Now how they do that, it's really ingenious of them how they do that. So your actual resource would be either the content in your S3 bucket or EC2. Maybe your server has some dynamic content, right? So your S3 and EC2 will stay in the region wherever you have created them, but CDN will create a small copy nearer to the user. So what CDN will do, it will come to AWS, right? AWS S3, for example, it will look at the content. Okay, has it changed in last 5 minutes? No, it hasn't changed in last 5 minutes. So they will keep using that content. If ever you decide to change your content, right? So when you change your content, the CDN will come to know, okay, you have changed the content, and it will refresh the copy it has. So what it does, it takes it from the region and copies it all over the world, right? So your user is essentially accessing the copy instead of actually accessing the real thing. Okay, so that's how they do it. Okay, yeah. So this is how it works. Whenever a user wants to access your content, he's essentially accessing a copy of it. rather than accessing the real thing, right? So origin server can be registered with AWS CloudFront through API call / console. You can do it via CLI, you can do it via console, and this will return a cloudfront.net domain. So right now, if you see, if you go to S3, if you click on this object, so your object has a URL or something type, what it is, s3.amazonaws.com. But when I will put this in CloudFront, it will turn into cloudfront.net. We'll see that how it happens, right? So let me go back to PPT. So we'll see how that happens. So what it will do, it will just create a CloudFront.net URL to it. And that CloudFront.net URL will be serving content from one of POPs rather than fetching it from the original S3 bucket. Okay. So here are how it works. So here's your original content on S3, right? Here is your original content on S3. You took the content and moved it to CloudFront, right? So now it's at around 216 locations all over the world. It was at one location, now it's distributed all over the world. Now when your user is accessing it, he will be accessing the CloudFront. Which CloudFront? Out of 216, right? The one that is nearer to him, right? So that way this user gets a lower latency, right? And there is not much load on this original S3 bucket, and the speeds are way higher. Okay. CloudFront CDN content is organized into distribution where content and delivery properties are configured. Okay. So how you go about doing it? Log into AWS CloudFront console, create distribution, specify the distribution properties, and you are good to go. First thing is content origin. Content origin is where your original content is. It can be an S3 bucket, it can be your EC2 server, it can be your media package channel, anything that you expect your user to use, right? Directly. You won't be putting your database on CloudFront because database is for your use, not your users' use, right? Database is for application that you're running. You don't put your application data out there in public. You only serve what a user needs, and that will be either a content, a PDF file, maybe a website page, whatever it is, you will be serving, right? Then you want to specify the access. So the access is like, do you want to make it public? Do you want it to be available only to AWS users? How you want to do it? Do you want to give just read access? Do you want to give write access as well? Everything. You can even configure security. So do you want it to be delivered securely? Means the user must use HTTPS to access your content. Okay, so there are two ways to access content, HTTP and HTTPS. So do you want to use HTTPS or not, right? You can have cookie or query string forwarding. So what you can have, whenever you access a website, a cookie is generated. A cookie is something like identifier. So whenever you are visiting a website, right? So whenever you are visiting a website, you will get a cookie. Okay, so that cookie identifies, okay, which user is this. Okay, so if you want to see how a cookie looks, let me show you one right now. You click on here on your Chrome, you see cookies 20 in use. So I have cookies from Google, I have cookie from JanBask, and if I look at JanBask cookie, so this is one of the cookie value. So this cookie value is helping JanBask to identify who I am. Okay, so this is their way of identifying which user is. So Google sends a lot of cookies. So in case of JanBask, it was one cookie. Look how many Google has sent. So every website that you go to stores some cookie on your computer to identify which user it is. Okay, so these are the cookies that they store. Okay, so similar way, you can have AWS CloudFront store cookies on your end. So whenever you try to get that content, you will be having some cookies associated with you. Okay, we'll create the distribution. Okay, so let me go to AWS console and just go to services and go to CloudFront. I click on create distribution. Okay, so what kind of distribution you want to create? You want either an S3 bucket or a web server, okay, or a RTMP. RTMP is for media files. Okay, so this is for Adobe Flash Media Player. This is something that AWS will be soon closing because Adobe Flash Media Server is getting axed. Okay, they are no longer going to be web browser who will be supporting Adobe Media Flash Player. So this one is going. So don't worry about this one. You will never get a question or a client requesting you to build a RTMP distribution. Just concentrate on this web one. Okay, so get started. Okay, so what would be your domain? Okay, so this is my domain. from where I have to pull my data. So this is my S3 bucket from where I'll be pulling that data. Okay, what is my origin path? Enter the directory name here with the is slash. So this appends to the directory name when you're forwarding your request. Okay, so my origin path is slash. Why is my origin path slash? Because in S3, I have put my data right in the bucket. See, the bucket has slash after it. The data is right there. There is no folder after. If I say create a folder, folder say, right? And if I go to that folder, then my path becomes slash folder, isn't it? But as my data, this PDF file is right there in the bucket, it's going to be slash. Okay. So my origin path is slash. And if your origin path is slash, you should not be like specifying it. It will just take it. Okay. So by default, it's slash one. So do you want to restrict bucket access? Okay. And you can have identity attached to it. No, I don't want to restrict access. I want this to be available to everyone. You can create your custom headers. Okay. Let's say CDN header is there and I put CloudFront. I'll show you what this does when I try to access this. Okay. So viewer protocol, HTTP and HTTPS, redirect HTTP to HTTPS or HTTPS only. So when you click HTTPS only, if user tries to do HTTP, he won't get access. So let's for now do redirect and then get to HTTPS only to see what happens. Right? And any field level encryption, I don't want that. Okay, cache based on selector header request, I don't want that. And everything that you want, you can just leave it there. Okay, you don't have to worry about it, but I'll explain everything to you. So first thing, okay, allowed HTTP method. So you don't have to understand HTTP method, but you should know what these do. So HTTP methods are ways to interact with the website. Whenever you are visiting website, you are using one of these methods. So get is like downloading website. Head is like seeing what is in there. Options is like what all methods this website supports. Okay, so maybe a website supports get only, maybe a website support head only, right? So this is not related to CDN, this is just related to HTTP, but yeah, you should know. Okay, and this won't be asked in any exam or anything. It's just there. And get, head, and options is there. Then you have put is like uploading something, right? Post is like uploading some data, 1, 2, 3, like a form data or something. Patch is like changing something, and delete is like delete. So you should know about this, like for just general IT knowledge, but yeah, they won't be asked anywhere, right? So this won't be in your exam. Nobody is going to tell you, and nobody is going to ask for this. And whenever you are creating a solution on CDN, the IT guy, the company for whom you are just generating the solution, they will give, okay, I want these enabled, I want this enabled, I want this enabled. Okay, if they don't give, just go with the defaults. Okay, just go with the get head, and rest of the things you can leave default as well. So cache HTTP methods, okay, I have selected get head, it's giving me get head. Now cache based on selected request headers. Do you want to based on cache get cache head? I don't want that. You want object caching. Okay. Do you want to cache your object? Yes, I want to cache my object. That's why I'm using CDN. Okay. So minimum TTL, how much time will it spend, before refreshing? It can be 0. Maximum can be, so these are all seconds. Okay. This is 1 day. This is, I think, 1 week or so. Not sure. So do you want to forward cookies? Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Okay. Maybe you don't want to. Okay, whitelist, all, whatever it is. Do you want query string forwarding? You can have all, nothing. Smooth streaming. Do you want to enable smooth streaming? Okay, so smooth streaming, no, if your region is configured to use Microsoft IS for smooth streaming, but I haven't done that, so I'm clicking yes. So restrict viewer access. I don't want to restrict viewers access. Compress objects automatically. Yes, I want that. That will save my data. Do you want a lambda function? Just forget about it. Don't, think about it. Price class. So you can have these 3 price classes. Okay. So this depends on where your users are. Maybe all your users are in US, Canada, and Europe, right? So you can only use this. This will be a bit cheaper. Maybe your users are in US, Canada, Europe, Asia, Middle East, and Africa, right? This one just skips South America, right? So it will be a bit expensive than this one, but yeah, still cheaper than. But if you are a global company, you have users all over the world, okay, use all edge locations. Do you want to do a web application firewall? Just leave it as it is. Do you want to use a SSL certificate? Yes, I want to use a SSL certificate because I have selected HTTPS above. Okay, so whenever a website like this one or is on HTTPS, you are presented with a certificate. This is their certificate. This is Amazon certificate. Similarly, you will get one for this CDN, and it will be free for you. Okay, so then comes the supported HTTP version. Okay, what version of HTTP? So whenever you write a website, there is HTTP in the start, right? So it also has a couple of versions: 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. So what all you want to support? I want to support all of these. Yeah. So default root object. Do you want to specify a default root object? Maybe I want to, like my default root object is this AWS IAM lab, right? So let me select that. I will put this only. And do you want to enable logging or not? I'm not going to use IPv6. Yeah, distribution state enabled, and just click on create distribution. Okay. So it was not liking all the content that I have put in there, spaces and all. So as soon as this will be created, you will get a status that it's completed. So let me go in there and just explain to you what all different stuff is there. Okay, this one we already discussed. Origin group is already there. So let's go to behaviors. So I have two behaviors here. Like I am allowing what? HTTP to HTTPS redirect. So if I go to HTTP, it will automatically take me to HTTPS. See, I got an HTTPS. I typed in HTTP apart from access denied because it's still creating. I got HTTPS here, right? So that's good. Now let's see what happens if we click here, change behavior, right? So if I click on edit and I enable both HTTP and HTTPS, click on yes, edit. Yeah, so I didn't get promoted to HTTPS in this case. See, you're saying not secure, but earlier it was just pushing me to HTTPS automatically, right? And I can go to HTTPS as well. So both are working, both secure and non-secure version. Okay, it's giving access denied because it's not created fully. So that's why it's giving access denied, but I am getting both HTTP and HTTPS. Now let's edit and just block HTTP, just HTTPS only. Okay. Now, when I try to do without HTTPS, see what happens. 403. I'm getting an error because it's just not allowed. But yes, if I do HTTPS, I'll get same access denied because the object is creating right now. So yes, so right now I'm able to use this on HTTPS only. So if a user comes and types HTTP only, he will get 403 error denied. So this is the difference between having HTTPS only, HTTP to HTTPS, and HTTP and HTTPS. So best thing is redirecting HTTP to HTTPS. That way, your user is always on secure traffic. You won't lose users because they typed in wrong URL, like they typed in HTTP, and you are automatically moving them over to HTTPS. All right. So you can also create custom error pages. Maybe you want to return, say, let's create a custom. So for what error code you want to create a custom page. So like right now what we were getting 403, right? So if I want to create a 403 page, I can create it. If I want to create a 400 bad request, I can create it. So for all these errors, you can have different error pages, right? So we don't want that. Do you want to enable any restrictions, right? So geo restriction, if you want to edit it, you want to enable. So maybe for certain countries, like say US has sanctions on a lot of countries, for example, Russia, right? You don't want your content to be visible in Russia. Okay. Yeah. So this country will not be able to access your content. Any user coming from this country won't be able to access your content. Maybe maybe US has sanction against Iran, right? So you can select Iran, add it here. They won't be able to access your content. So that way you are compliant to whatever rules your country is setting, and you can just block access to those geolocations, right? You can also create invalidation. So maybe you want to remove some object, right? So you can create invalidation objects. So for whatever object you create an invalidation rule for, it gets removed from CloudFront. Okay, it won't be copied from your S3 bucket to the CloudFront. Okay, so this is also an option. Maybe there are 10 objects in your S3 bucket, and you want validation. You want only 8 of those to be available on CloudFront. 2 of those you don't want on CloudFront. You can do that. Okay, so by default, when you are selecting an origin, when you're selecting a S3 bucket, everything from that S3 bucket will be moved to CloudFront. So all 216 locations will have copy of your S3 data. But yes, if you want few objects not to be copied over there, you can definitely do that with invalidation options. Then you got tags. So you can create a lot of tags. It's just to identify your different buckets. Let's see if it has created by now. It's still in progress. It's going to take a lot of time. So the next topic, there is a topic called S3 Glacier. So we did discuss that yesterday. So Glacier essentially is a archival storage, right? So what do you mean by archival? Maybe some data that you don't need instantly. Whenever you want it, you are okay with longer retrieval time. With S3, you have instant access, right? So when you are on S3, you want to download this, you just click on download, right? And it gets downloaded for you. Okay, instantly you get the download. But say there are some data files that you are okay to just wait a few minutes for them to get downloaded to your system. Maybe you have an archival log file. So whenever someone comes for audit of your organization, maybe they want to see last 1 year of data or last 5 years of data. So you can have that data in S3, but keeping it in regular bucket is going to cost more. So you can save some money by putting it in S3, because S3 Glacier. So S3 Glacier is like 1/10 or 1/100 the cost of some of the S3 charges. So that way you save a lot of money. And whenever you are going for audit, it's not a very urgent case, because you will get a prior notice from your audit company. Okay, we are coming on for audit on this date. Please have all documents ready. So you get a plenty of time to put in a request, and maximum time that it takes for your data to be retrieved in is a couple of hours, maybe 3 hours or more. Maximum that I've seen is around 6 hours, but 6 hours is still good, because you are getting for audit or something like that, you will be getting advance notice maybe 1 or 2 days prior. So you can have your data ready. And once you have put in a request and your data is ready, the transfer is instant. Once it's ready, it's just as fast as clicking this download button and downloading that file. But yeah, to activate this download button very fast, you need to put in a request to AWS. Okay, this is my data, I want this. And AWS will say, okay, hold on, let me find it. I have put it in an archive. It will be restored for you, but yeah, hold on. So it will take some time, maybe a couple of hours. And if you are really lucky, less than an hour or even. But yeah, if it's your bad day, then up to 6 hours. Okay. So how you go about using it? So you go to services, click on S3 Glacier. Okay, so you click on S3 Glacier. This is where you will be taken to, right? So you have to just click on create vault. As soon as you click on create vault, so where in which region you want your create vault. So my current region is Northern Virginia. It's showing me here. And I want to put my vault's name. So my AWS. Okay. Next step. So do you want event notification, so that whenever your data is ready or something, you get an email? Okay, I want that. Okay, and I want to create a new SNS topic. Okay, perfect. What would be the topic name? Okay, topic name will be my AWS class Glacier. Okay. All right. Now, what would be the display name? I can go with the same one. Archival job complete. Okay, I want that. I want inventory retrieval job complete. Okay, don't worry. Yes, I want a notification for both of those. And I click on submit. As soon as I click on submit, I'm given a vault. Okay, this is my vault. Okay, so I have my vault ready with me. You can lock it, you can have permissions and everything. So let's go over these details and then put data in it. Okay, so first is region, on what time it was created, time and date. What is Amazon resource number? So ARN is something that Amazon gives to identify each and every resource. So each and everything that you create on AWS, be it S3 bucket, be it object in S3 bucket, or be it a vault, or maybe a server, maybe a storage, everything has a unique ARN number, right? So ARN number is ARN colon AWS, name of the product, the region it is in, its serial number, okay, its location, words, and name of the object. Okay, so how it is? First word is always ARN, second word is always AWS, third word is the name of the product that you're using, fourth word is the region you are in, next is the unique ID that you have, your account number, and then vaults slash AWS vault. That should be the actual location of that. So every object that you create, maybe if you look at S3, right? So even if you look at this also has a ARN number associated with it, right? ARN, AWS, name of the product, your so in this case there is no region. Why there is no region? Because CloudFront is all over the world. You have selected all the edge locations, so that's why it doesn't have a region. It is global. So then your account number and then actual name of the product that you're using. So it's a distribution and its name is this, right? So similarly for S3 buckets as well. So if I go to S3 real quick, S3 buckets also have a ARN. Yeah, copy bucket ARN, right? So if I copy it and just paste it here, yeah, so this is ARN, AWS, S3. Again, this is global. This is not limited to just my account because this bucket is unique in the world. Then I have my actual bucket. Okay, so they keep changing these locations of like where you can find ARN and stuff like that. So yeah, you have to be very, proficient in using your account. Okay, so this is your ARN. So where I was, yeah. This is distribution Glacier. So this is your Glacier. Then I click on notifications. So yes, I have enabled notifications for both my retrieval job as well as inventory job. Okay. Do I want to set permissions? Okay, I don't want to set permissions right now because I am the only user and I want access to it. Okay, then you can have a vault lock. So vault lock is something that you can enforce compliance controls. Okay, so nobody should be able to download it, nobody should be able to upload it, or somebody should be able to upload it. You can all create all those policies. And tags is just again for identification purposes. So if you go to settings, so you can set your retrieval. So free tier only you can set because we don't want charges. So retrieval with free tier that exceeds the free tier will not be accepted. So that way you are not charged anywhere. So max retrieval rate, okay, how many GB you want. So maybe you want 100 GB. So if you want 100 GB per hour, you are going to be charged $20. So this is for retrieval, not for storage. So when you are retrieving it, this is what you are going to be cost. And for free tier only, it will be first come first serve basis, and you can have a provisioned capacity. So that way you can have each capacity unit. So more capacity you have, the faster will be your retrieval. So right now I'm just using one capacity unit. It is available with free tier. So that's it. But if you decide to have additional capacity, you want a faster retrieval, maybe some vault is very critical for you, you can have multiple of, but each of that retrieval capacity increase will cost you $100. Okay, so you have to be very careful with this because this will instantly charge you $100. Yeah, so always stay in limits of free tier. And so let me put an object. So objects for Glacier are essentially taken from your S3 bucket. So if I click on upload, if I click on add files, okay, maybe I want to save this file, open, okay. So I click on next, the permissions will be default, and I want to put it in Glacier. So as soon as I click in Glacier, so replication rule enabled for this bucket, the object status operator won't replicate if you need to replication. So whenever you're putting in Glacier, you won't be able to replicate it. What do you mean? So if I have a global replication enabled for my bucket, like I enabled yesterday, wherein one bucket was being replicated to another bucket in another region. If I have enabled it on this bucket, when I store into Glacier, it won't be, because Glacier is only in one region, is for deep archival storage. So it won't be. So it's giving me a warning, right? So I can have encryption. Okay, I want encryption. Then I click on next and upload. So as soon as I click upload, right? So this will be uploaded. It will show me here, but you see the storage class, right? So now the storage class is Glacier. Okay, and see, you cannot download or make it public. You cannot edit any property or permission. So once you have committed something in Glacier, right, you cannot directly download it, right? So if you want to download it, you have to request this object from AWS. Okay, so how you go about? So if I come back here, right, refresh. Okay, so right now there is nothing, because it will take some time for the object to show here, because I have just committed it. So it takes time to just pull its inventory. Okay, somebody has uploaded it, so it will be eventually uploaded. It's not a priority thing. It will get there, but it will take some time, right? So it takes a lot of time for it to start showing here. And if you want to download it, you have to just put in a request. And once you put in a request, it will take some time, and then you will get that object back, right? So whenever you want to download it, you have to put in a request. So now say you want to put in a request for this. So you have to click on restore. So as soon as you click on restore, this is the way it restores. So number of days the restored copy is available. Do you want to keep it permanently? Do you want the restored copy for 1 day? So let's say I click for 1 day. Now there are 3 restored tiers. Okay, one is bulk retrieval, another one is standard retrieval, third one is expedited retrieval, right? So for expedited retrieval, I get it in 1 to 5 minutes, but I will be charged $100 for it. Okay, so for standard retrieval, I won't be charged anything. Bulk retrieval, if you want to download a huge amounts of capacity, right? So huge amount of capacity, like you have 100,000 GB plus of files. So then you go for bulk retrieval. So right now I'm just going for standard retrieval, and if I click on restore, it will take some time. So as soon as it will be available, I'll get a notification on my email, right? But now it will take like 1 to 5 hours. Let's keep it, and it will be retrieved. So I have put in a retrieval request for this one. So whenever it will be there, it will just start showing the object here with storage class standard, and I'll be able to download it like other objects. Okay, but right now I cannot download it because it's still in, because see, the restoration is in progress. When it has been restored from the Glacier, I'll be able to just download it. So today we studied both AWS CDN, that is called CloudFront. Okay, so let me go to the actual CloudFront page. So this is the official AWS page. So it also mentions you can transfer 50 dB of data, 2 million HTTP requests with AWS CloudFront with your free tier. Okay, that's just good to know. You're not going to reach that limit if you're using it for your own, but yeah, that's the limit. So AWS CloudFront is Amazon's distribution network. So what I mean by distribution network, say you have some object in your S3 bucket, right? So as soon as you want your users to access it, so if it's only in your S3 bucket, it will be slower for some users, because S3 bucket can only be in one region, or you can create multi-region bucket. And multi-region bucket, you have to pay, like if you want all the regions, you have to pay 24 times over. So AWS came up with CloudFront. It's like a mini data center that is closer to the user. Okay, so your S3 bucket gets copied to those locations. So you have 216 locations. So now you have 216 copies of your S3 bucket that are way closer to user. Okay, so what are the benefits of it being closer to user? It will be faster, right? So when your data is way closer to the user, okay, they will experience low latency, high data transfer speeds. Okay, you can have it for S3, for static content, EC2 for dynamic content. We'll study EC2 as well in future, but for now, just concentrate on S3. So if I have an object in S3, I can distribute it over CloudFront. Okay, so whenever you publish an object on CloudFront, you get a URL like this, test1765 CloudFront.net. It will be some random URL given by CloudFront, and your content will be served over secure connection HTTPS, and you will get certificate for it. That usually costs $300. Since Amazon is bundling this service, so it's usually free. So how you go about creating AWS CloudFront? So if I go to CloudFront here, you just click on distributions, create distribution, get started, name of the origin from where you want to pull it, any path you want to pull, you want to restrict packet access or not. Okay, create identity if you want any identity. I don't want to. You can have origin headers. You can have all these options. So these options I explained in detail in my video. You can view that later, right? And then you just click on create distribution. Once you have created distribution, it will start showing up in the distribution section like this. All right, guys. So I think this is it for today's class. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
JanBask training. Learn and grow.